Good evening, whenever you're watching. Joe Davis here from Southern New Hampshire University. Justice 224, we're going to talk about the final project. There are four parts to this project. The first is where you use Milestone One's information to come up with your fact pattern analysis, or where you're going to analyze the fact patterns. The second is you use your Milestone Two paper to talk about the research you're going to do. And then you use the milestone number 3 to talk about how you're going to apply the law. The only part of the paper you should have to write this week is the memorandum. Okay, and that's a very rote function, if you will. I'll show you, I'll walk you through it. Okay, so the review will analyze fact patterns here. Should be able to cut and paste that paper for the most part. There are 4 grading rubric critical elements that applied to Milestone 1. Those same 4 apply to the final project. So if you had trouble with some of those, now's your time to correct them. Okay? This part of your final project should only be 2 or 3 pages. Now in the sample paper, the example paper 7-2, which you can find in Module 7 announcement, I've emailed it to everyone. But just in case, here is a sample of just the first legal issue and the start of the second one. So it says, first, when Benny was standing on the bridge and the jogger approached him, Benny assaulted the jogger by pointing the gun at him and telling him that he should mind his own business or something bad will happen. Assault is defined as a combination of the threat of harm and an action, for example, scaring someone with a weapon. For an assault, the victim only has to have reasonable fear, which is the case in this scenario. Since he used a deadly weapon to threaten the jogger, it can be classified as an aggravated assault, depending on the state. Crimes like these fall under state law. This is not a federal offense. There's nothing to link Benny pointing the gun at the jogger to the attempted murder of Private Dan. Second, Benny tampered with evidence, so on and so forth. So that should give you help with the first section. All right, research is Milestone 2. Same thing applies. You should be able to take that paper, cut and paste it, do some editing to smooth it out. There are 2 critical elements in the grading rubric. Those same 2 critical elements apply in your final project. Okay, again, this part of the project, of the final project, should only be 2 or 3 pages. There is an example in the paper 7-2. The whole paper is an example there. You can find it in the Module 7 announcements, and I've emailed it to everybody, but just in case. The first legal issue was the disorderly conduct in the second degree that Benny committed, and it violated state law. In order to find the specific law, I will use Cornell Law website. Since I have already determined in Milestone 1 what crime has been committed and what the controlling law is, I can simply obtain the law by clicking on the tab Get the Law and then clicking on the State Law button under Law by Jurisdiction. I chose the state of Kentucky. That's because that's where this student lived. And the link leads me to the website for Kentucky Revised Statutes, which was last updated August the 24th of 2015. For the other issues, I'll be using the same method. The Kentucky Revised Statutes website is very credible and up to date. It's the official database of Kentucky statutes. The website has a search engine that I will use to find laws faster. For this legal issue, I typed in threatening behavior, and the few results include disorderly conduct in the second degree. Aggravated assault is referred to as disorderly conduct in the second degree in Kentucky, and it violates Kentucky Revised Statute Annotated Code Section 525.060. Okay, let's look at applying the law. That's Milestone 3, same thing. The paper that you wrote for Milestone 3 should be cut and pasted into your final project. There are 4 critical elements in the grading rubric for Milestone 3. Those same 4 critical elements apply to the final project. This part of your project will again only be 2 or 3 pages, so you're going to actually edit down some of what you've already done. The example is in 7-2, and you can go to Module 7 announcements, and I've emailed it to everyone. But just in case, applying the law, we'll use this example. Benny committed A disorderly conduct in the second degree when he threatened the jogger with a gun, which violated Kentucky Revised Statute Annotated Code 525.060. This law states that a person is guilty of disorderly conduct in the second degree when in a public place and with the intent to cause public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm, or wantonly creating a risk thereof, he engages in fighting or in violent, tumultuous, or threatening behavior, creates a hazard or physically offensive condition by any act that serves no legitimate purpose. Benny's actions toward the jogger was certainly a violent and threatening behavior, and they were in a public place. Threatening a person with a gun in a public place certainly qualifies as disorderly conduct in the second degree, especially since the gun can be seen as creating the hazard. All right, let's take a look at the memorandum at the end of the paper. This is the only part you're going to write. If you go to the textbook page 211 through 216, you will find it clearly outlined in headings. Okay, there are 2 articles in Module 7, Reading and Resources. Those both walk you through the process of writing a memorandum, as it's called. That's the 4th part of your paper. There are 4 critical elements, and they follow the IRAC method: the issue, or question, the rules, the rule of law, your analysis of that, and then finally your conclusion. Okay? Now, based on the grading rubric elements, the memorandum question, you're required to present a question related specific to Victor's legal issues. If you read the part where it says exemplary, you want to get the highest possible grade, the rubric says you must encompass all of Victor's legal issues. I find that a little vague, so here are the requirements for this class, or its clarification. Use Victor's legal issues identified in your paper versus in the case study. Okay, so use Victor's legal issues that you've identified in your paper, not the entire case study. In this sample paper, there is only one: assault on a police officer. Victor bit him. And that's fine. You need the other 4 legal issues to fill it out. But if you don't have any of Victor's legal issues in your paper, use one of Benny's legal issues. If you don't have any legal issues for either Victor or Benny, let me know as soon as possible, because you probably need help with fact pattern analysis and the identification of legal issues. So even though the rubric says you need to do this for all of Victor's legal issues, I think that's a little vague and a bit much. So anyway, use Victor's legal issues that you've identified. Okay, if you don't have any of Victor's, use one of Benny's. If you don't have any of those, email me and we'll work it out. Okay, the sample narrative. This is the note that I put at the top of the sample narrative. This paper isn't perfect, but it does meet all the grading rubric. Critical elements, yes, there are 15 critical elements that you must meet in this paper. If you successfully completed or revised milestones 1, 2, and 3, you should be in great shape. Insert those 3 papers at the beginning of your final project. You'll see them in this example document. You'll need to edit and make sure everything flows smoothly. The final project is to write the memorandum using the IRAC method. That should be the only new portion that you write. And as you will see on pages 211 to 216, both the articles and the reading and resources, and clearly in the sample paper, it's a format that just repeats. Okay? Use this paper as a template, as a guide, or even a checklist to walk you through the final project. I have written to some of you and said, and told some of you on the phone, see if your paper looks like the sample narratives. And I know you probably don't want to be printing things out and we're killing trees, but if you could print a little of it out, or you can do a side-by-side comparison on your computer screen, do the 2 papers look alike? Because if they don't look alike, you're probably missing the format, which means then you're missing content. Let me know what I can do to help you. This is a busy week for all of us. I would like to hope you all get them turned in so that I can get them graded and back to you. And if you have time need to revise, you have time in week 8 to revise. But it's a lengthy paper for me to read also. Keep those cards and letters coming. I look forward to hearing from you.